Hello, Squirrel Tribe. We're going to start off with a clip that I think you all need to see because this is a very big deal right now. It's being talked about a lot. It's even been talked about in the White House briefing room. So let's take a look at this video. Then we're going to go into a little bit of a deep dive on it and a discussion.
Shocking body camera video released today shows the deadly police shooting of SONYA MASSEY. The mother of two called 911 just before 1 a.m. because of a possible prowler, only to be shot by a deputy inside her own Illinois home. Now, former deputy faces 3 counts of first-degree murder.
Now, before we get to the whole entire thing, I want to point out that the former deputy that's facing first-degree murder has been a deputy for 6, or a sheriff and then a deputy, I believe, for 6 different police departments, either resigned or let go from every single one up until the one he ended up in, where he ended up murdering this woman. That says a lot to me. When you cannot hold a position in a police force without being moved out or having to resign, that's not a good look. And then it makes you wonder why this police department hired him, seeing how many other police departments he could not make it in. It's just like any kind of job. You should have to fill out something to show your employment history. There should be some sort of checking on your employment history. And you would think that there would be enough red flags that this police department would have said, no, not a good idea. Unfortunately, that's not what happened, and a woman lost her life. So let's finish this.
CBS's Roxana Saberi has the video that shows the chaotic moments. We do want to warn you that it is hard to watch.
The body camera video reveals the events leading up to the horrific scene.
What took you so long to answer the door?
Oh, I was trying to put on some clothes, sir. I'm sorry.
Doing all right mentally?
Yes.
Sure?
My medicine and stuff.
All right. Okay.
I love y'all. Thank y'all.
Inside the home, Sangamon County Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson can be heard asking SONYA MASSEY to check on the stove.
We don't need a fire while we're here.
Within seconds,
I will say I immediately was not okay with the tone on what took you so long to answer the door. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but that feels already aggressive, and it would have set a tone, because I mean, that's how I would have reacted. It would have set a weird tone for me, but I want you to continue to watch this, all right?
things become tense.
Where you going?
Huh?
Where you going?
Away from your hot steaming water.
Away from my hot steaming water?
Yeah.
Oh, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
Huh?
Rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
God, I swear to God, I'll shoot you right in your face.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Massey starts to set down the pot and apologizes.
Explain to me why that was necessary. Boiling water that she was setting down versus 3 shots that took her life. Now, I understand, we're going to look at it from both sides, obviously. People are going to say, you just never know. You know, the police officer feared for his life. I don't know that my life would end due to a small pot of boiling water. I feel like that's a very big leap on fearing for your life. The fact that she was doing what was requested. He asked her to go remove the boiling water. She went to go do it. He made a comment that she did not find appropriate, or it triggered something in her, so she rebuked whatever she rebuked, right? That's still, words are not reason to pull your firearm and take shots. No matter what anybody says, there is no reason for it. Now, I would like to point out that about the same time we had, you guys know George Floyd. This is along the same lines, in my opinion, for this reason. This feels like it's going to be used as another black and white divide, another push against, you know, the divide against police officers and citizens, the divide against white and black. And it's the same situation. White police officer, black victim, or black, however you want to call it. She was a victim of this. George Floyd is a completely different story. We're not getting into that one. But she is a victim here of murder for a pot of boiling water. But I feel like right now, with everything that's going on in the news, Biden stepping down, Biden not being seen for 5-6 days now, Jill Biden not being seen, Kamala Harris, now the new, nominee for Democrat president. All of it, everything that's going on, Kimberly Cheadle stepping down from the Secret Service after her botched protection of Donald Trump at the Trump rally on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania. Everything going on right now is crazy. And then you throw this into the fire, no pun intended. You throw this into the fire of a white police officer shooting an unarmed. Okay, we'll smudge that. Technically armed with boiling water that she was on the way down to put down. Even where she's standing, you have to look at it. Even where she was standing, even if she were to try to throw a pot of boiling water, it would not have reached either of those officers. There is a divide between her and them. She is down on the floor. Even if she went up with it, it would never have reached either of them. So pulling out his gun and firing 3 shots that hit her and killed her is crazy. One of them went underneath her eye and like somehow out her jaw, I think they said. I don't know how, I can't even mentally picture how that works. But I mean, it killed her. And that is huge. Let's watch just a little bit more of this video here.
Grayson fires 3 times, striking her in the face.
Headshot wounded female, 1078.
Prosecutors say Grayson's partner tried to give the 36-year-old first aid, even though Grayson discouraged him.
I'm gonna go get my kit. No, she's done. You can go get it, but that's a headshot.
Civil.
Why? Again, why is a headshot the shot that you take? I understand that police officers are taught, I don't know if it's police officers or it's military, but the 3 shots. And I say this because I've watched a bunch of like Mark Wahlberg movies where he's like shooter and stuff like that, and all kinds of army movies with Thor. What's his name? I don't know his name, but the guy who played Thor. All these movies, and it's like you're supposed to kill shots, 3 shots, 1 here and like 2 to the heart, 1 to the head. I'm pretty sure it's how it goes, right? For a severe threat. Boiling water is not a severe threat. I don't care what anybody says. This was straight up murder of a mentally ill woman who had called the police for help because she thought somebody was burglarizing her home. Like, why is this where we are? I'm not going to do any more of the video. But what's interesting to me, and the reason I brought this up, is because as soon as this happened, statement from President Joe Biden on SONYA MASSEY on July 22nd. There still has not been a single statement from Joe Biden, excuse me, about Joe Biden. Why is he commenting on everything else? But there's not been a single statement released on the White House page, whitehouse.gov, in the briefing room. Statements, nothing regarding the president and his health. Nothing regarding, not even his letter that was posted on X with him resigning from the Democrat ballot for this election. Not even that has been mentioned on whitehouse.gov. Yet this man who either is at death's door, is dead, or is perfectly fine, because it's all up in the air. Nobody has a single clue what's actually going on when it comes to Biden, because there's been crickets everywhere. Took the time or had the ability to have a statement made about the SONYA MASSEY. Now let me read his statement. SONYA MASSEY, a beloved mother, friend, daughter, and young black woman, should be alive today. She was 36 years old. SONYA called the police because she was concerned about a potential intruder. When we call for help, all of us as Americans, regardless of who we are or where we live, should be able to do so without fearing for our lives. SONYA's death at the hands of a responding officer reminds us that all too often, black Americans face fears for their safety in ways many of the rest of us do not. I'm going to finish this and we'll keep going. SONYA's family deserves justice. I am heartbroken for her children and her entire family as they face this unthinkable and senseless loss. Jill and I mourn with the rest of the country, and our prayers are with SONYA's family, loved ones, and community during this devastating time. I commend the swift actions that were taken by the Springfield State's Attorney's Office. While we wait for the case to be prosecuted, let us pray to comfort the grieving. Congress must pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act now. Our fundamental commitment to justice is at stake. Now, again, this is a huge deal, and they're making it a huge deal. I'm pretty sure there's been numerous other police shootings or regular shootings or deaths of black women or white police officers shooting somebody that don't get talked about. But look at what time it is. It's political time. You have a black woman who's now going to be your Democratic nominee for the president. So now you have a black woman who has been murdered, and this will be a very strong talking point on her campaign trail, I'm sure. I am in no way, shape, or form making light of the death of SONYA MASSEY or the fact that that police officer flat out murdered her over boiling water that he told her to pick up and move and turn off or whatever, right? But that's not what this is about. Unfortunately, that's not what this is about. This is about how it's going to be used at election time. This is how it's going to be the push for the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act now. This is also about how, in my personal opinion, the president did not make an entire statement about Corey, the gentleman who was murdered at the Trump rally, Corey Comparator. I can't ever say his last name, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but the news outlets keep spelling it two different ways, and I don't remember which one is correct, so we're just going to call him Corey C. Corey C. did not get a statement like this from President Joe Biden after his murder at the Trump rally, but this woman gets this statement, okay? When President Biden talked about the Trump rally shooting, he said a guy lost his life. He didn't even use Corey's name in the first one. The second one, he called him Corey and said, I feel for his family, and, we pray for them, whatever else, but he did not get his own presidential briefing statement made. Why not? It was still a murder. Is it because it was not a black woman murdered by a white police officer, therefore it doesn't hold the same weight during an election period? Like, I'm just kind of curious why that wasn't, why Corey didn't get the same treatment that SONYA is getting. And people, y'all can look at that how you want to, the way I'm asking, but it's a legit question. So then I went on X and I just typed in Sean Grayson. That is the police officer who pulled the trigger and killed SONYA, right? Now, here is what I was telling you about. This is from this Erica person posted, the SONYA Massey killing was worse than described, if that's even possible. The officer who killed her, Sean Grayson, worked for 4 different police sheriff's departments in 6 years. He also had 2 DUI convictions, yet he was still holding a badge. This can't be reformed. So it says 4 different ones in 6 years, but I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. Look, you guys can see right here is exactly all the different places that he was at. The first 2, it says other. I'm not quite sure what that means. Then he resigned out of 3 of them and then terminated for cause on May 1st, 2023 at the last place he worked. Terminated for cause. And yet this Illinois Police Department said, sounds like a great candidate. We should totally hire him. Please make that make sense. Make that make sense, because it does not make sense unless, of course, everything that happens lately is some big collusion. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. It's not, it happens sometimes. It happens a lot of times, but it's only a conspiracy if it doesn't come true. And half the time, if not more than half, we're going, told you, told you, told you. This is all, again, everything is smoke and mirrors lately, it seems. Since July 13th and the Trump assassination attempt, everything has been some form of smoke and mirrors that makes absolutely no sense. You can't get a straight answer from anybody on anything. And I think this is just going to add to it. This is meant to add fuel to the fire. That's all it is. And it's extremely unfortunate this woman lost her life. And I hope this man goes to jail. But we've also seen what happens when things like this happen. He could walk scot-free, 2 DUIs and, kicked out of numerous police departments and still holding a badge and a gun. So who's to know if he's going to get any kind of jail time or anything else, or if SONYA Massey's family is going to be another family out there who lost their loved one to some sort of violence and gets no justice for it, no retribution. It's absolutely ridiculous what is going on. This is a huge deal, and it will be talked about a lot, but it will be talked about in the sense of a police officer killing an unarmed black woman. And that is true, but it needs to be talked about in the sense of this is going to be used on this campaign trail for Kamala Harris to help push that divide, to help pull in the black votes, to help divide the country even more. That's what it's all about, unfortunately. So this is something we're going to keep an eye on, because again, it needs to be kept an eye on. So here's the guy, in case anybody was curious. I took a screenshot. It's kind of blurry, but that is the guy who killed her, who murdered her. And they're saying that he has these tattoos on his arm. I don't know. It's just skulls, but they're saying there's another tattoo that can't be seen here that shows that he's white supremacist. I haven't seen it. There's a lot of other ink under there. So it's obviously it's possible. I don't want to say that's the case, because again, I have not seen it, so I don't know. Even Vice President Kamala Harris made a statement on SONYA Massey. And again, nothing for Corey. She says, this is what Kamala Harris says, SONYA Massey deserved to be safe. After she called the police for help, she was tragically killed in her own home at the hands of a responding officer sworn to protect and serve. Doug and I, that's Mr. First Man, or second man. Doug and I send strength and prayers to SONYA's family and friends, and we join them in grieving her senseless death. Our thoughts are also with the communities across our nation whose calls for help are often met with suspicion, distrust, and even violence. The disturbing footage released yesterday confirms what we know from the lived experiences of so many. We have much work to do to ensure that our justice system fully lives up to its name. I join President Biden in commending the swift action of the state's attorney office and in calling on Congress to pass, again, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, a bill that I co-authored in the Senate. In this moment, in honor of SONYA's memory and the memory of so many more whose names we may never know, we must come together to achieve meaningful reforms that advance the safety of all communities. Again, this will be used as a divide, and this is being used to push a new bill through that she just happened to co-author right before she becomes, in theory, to the Democrats' president, right? The timing of things is never lost on me, and this is one of those convenient timed things. So we're going to keep an eye on this, Squirrel Tribe. Listen, I love y'all immensely. It's a hectic Tuesday. Who knows what the rest of the day will bring? And tomorrow is supposed to be an entire fireworks show with, in theory, Biden showing up for the first time since July 17th, I believe, when he left Las Vegas. So that'll be interesting if it actually happens. Definitely going to be here for that. I love y'all. Make sure you guys have a great, fabulous day, and I'll see you later. Bye.